A group of scientists announced this week that within 10 years, they will be able to make a whole human heart using a 3D printer. This is real. They can make a heart from a printer. The bad news, the toner cartridges are not covered by Obamacare. That's the only problem we have.
The national joke continues, but the White House in full panic mode trying to orchestrate a quick fix to the Obamacare debacle. But is the president's fix to the law unconstitutional? My next guest says it is. With me, Florida Congressman and the member of the House Oversight Committee, Ron Desantis from Florida. All right, Congressman, why do you say that the president's attempt at an Obamacare fix is unconstitutional?
Well, good evening, Judge. When the president announced this, quote, fix, he said, look, we're going to extend the grandfather clause to cover some of these plans that people have signed up for in the last couple years. The problem with that is that Obamacare, the statute, does not cover any of those plans. And so those cancellations are by design of the law. So he doesn't want Congress to be able to go in and grandfather him because he knows that we'll give people way more relief than he wants to. So he's trying to say that he can kind of extend protections. The problem is only Congress can legislate. That's just our core function. The president is supposed to take care that the laws are faithfully executed. This president thinks that he can rewrite laws as he sees fit, and that's just not constitutional government.
Congressman, the president touts the fact that he was a constitutional law professor. You and I and the first-year law student knows that you can't, through executive dictate, say, you know what, even though we passed this law, you don't have to follow it. I'm going to fix it. I mean, isn't this crazy? I feel like I'm in an alternative reality.
And just think about it. If you're taking a high school civics class, they're going to teach you Congress passes laws, the president enforces laws. There's nothing taught to people about the president being able to unilaterally suspend laws or delay laws. And indeed, if someone would have proposed that when the Constitution was created, the Founding Fathers would have thrown a fit. That was exactly the type of government that they were rebelling against.
All right. And, Congressman, we found out about yet another Obamacare delay this week. Why does the administration refuse to stop playing politics? And, of course, I referenced the fact that for the 2015 sign-up, we're going to give you an extra month so that the Democrats can get through the 2014 midterms.
I got to tell you, this idea of continually trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, how much longer can all these deceptions go? Now, we know had the president been honest before 2012, had he told people you may lose your plan, you may lose your doctor, you're going to pay a heck of a lot more, he would not have been reelected. Right. So why are they trying to dupe the American public again before 2014? I think we in the House should insist that that enrollment period be open before the election so that the American people have the facts.
All right, Congressman, thanks so much for being with us this evening.
Anytime.
All right. And with me now, Democratic strategist Steve Laser and Republican strategist Ryan Girdusky. All right, gentlemen, thanks for being with us tonight. Ryan, I'm going to go right to you. New polls say that 7% of Americans say that they're happy with Obamacare. Who are these people?
You know, after Ted Cruz gave his speech and then Harry Reid shut down the government and blamed the Republicans, support for Obamacare went to an all-time high. And then it collapsed because it's a horrible bill and it's a horrible law. And the only way to try to defend it is for Democratic senators like Mary Landrieu to not be seen with the president and for President Obama to try to make these unconstitutional quick fixes in order to support and change his signature legislation.
All right, Steve, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, look, I mean, the part of that poll that really stuck out to me was the 43%, only 43% of the people want Obamacare repealed, so the vast majority of the American people want to give it a chance. The other thing I would say about that unconstitutionality thing is that...
but 61% of Americans disapprove of it.
Well, what parts do they disapprove of? They like the fact...
They like the fact...
No, they like the fact...
If I don't like a car, it doesn't matter if it's the back seat or the headlight.
They like the fact that young kids can stay on their parents' programs until age 26. They like the fact that pre-existing conditions are no
insurance
longer
anyway.
excluded. When they're talked about, when you talk about different parts of the plan, they like different parts of Obamacare. When the full exchange programs go into effect, when people get on them, they're going to like those too.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter when it comes to elections, Steve. No offense,
Oh,
but
it's going to matter.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
When they like their health insurance plans, it's going to matter.
Americans
And
loved
that's
it
gonna
when
change
we
it
took over
completely
Baghdad in
when
the
it comes
Iraq
to election
War, but they
2014.
hated it when we were stuck in the minutia of that war for 5 years, and that's why the Republicans lost in 2006. Democrats are set on a gigantic loss in 2014.
Okay.
Third,
let's see if that's going to happen. Let's talk about the nuclear option, okay? Because I want to move this along. 225 years, no one has ever used a nuclear option in the Senate. Do you think, Steve, that the Democrats are going to be sorry when the tables are turned?
That is one thing that I do worry about. But I'll tell you this. In those 225 years that you talked about, Judge, there have been about 168 filibusters of presidential nominees. Half of them have occurred in the last 5 years. You can't tell me that that's okay. You can't tell me that Harry Reid didn't have a reason to do this. I am worried about what happens when the Republicans do get back the White House and the Senate. As a matter of fact, I think they're going to go even further, and I bet you they're going to take away the filibuster for everything. But I think it was absolutely necessary here. The government could not go forward.
Oh,
with what the way the
go
Republicans
forward.
were
Here's the
doing.
thing.
Disaster.
Let me tell you the reason. The reason to my viewers is the second is the D.C. Circuit, which is the judges that the President Obama was trying to put on the D.C. Circuit, and are the ones who decide his regulations and his promulgations and all that stuff. So that's why it was important. But aside
So
from
why
that,
couldn't he appoint those judges?
well, I don't know why he couldn't appoint the judges,
go.
but this is nothing new. Federal judges and appointments have been opposed by opposing parties from the beginning of time.
And the D.C. Circuit Court gets the least amount of casework. It's not like it's the Ninth Circuit Court or the Seventh Circuit Court. They get very, very little casework as a whole, the D.C. Circuit Court.
So there should have been no objections to any of his appointees.
No,
Guys,
absolutely
we
not.
cannot get past the point that no other president has faced these kind of objections and obstructions to his appointments that President Obama has. It's
So we should
unprecedented.
gut the whole thing.
It's unprecedented, the type of obstructionism that he has experienced. It's not right.
So we
Ask you
should gut
something,
the whole
Steve.
system
Do you
then.
think that the president has invited it? I mean,
No.
you know, I've never seen a president talk with such being so vituperative, against the opposing party holding guns to the American. Who talks like that? It's beneath him.
You know, I looked at several of the appointees that have not even been brought up for an up or down vote by Republicans filibustering in the Senate. And these were folks, when you listen to Republican senators, they have no objection to some of these folks. Some of these folks were appointed to their initial bench by Republicans in the White House.
Harry
and
Reid-
they're still filibustering
real
them.
fast.
Harry Reid loved the nuclear option before he hated it, and as Mr. McConnell said, as Mr. McConnell said in the Senate, it's the filibuster. If you like the filibuster, he should be able to keep it too.
All right, Steve and Ryan, thanks so much for being with us
Thanks,
tonight.
Judge.